I want to discuss Josh Allen's mechanics. Shane, what were your thoughts on that? Because I showed you the video of his work with Chris Hess. But
Yeah.
what were your kind of overall thoughts? And obviously we'll go to the rest of the crew if they have any other thoughts on that. But what do you think?
Well, I mean, what I notice with a lot of NFL quarterbacks is, they all have. You can tell that a lot of them have baseball backgrounds because they throw the football like it's a baseball, and which on the surface it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, this is how you throw a ball, whatever. But a football, it's unique because it's such a strange shape and it's much larger than most other balls that you throw. So it's like you see a lot of. Here's in that video, Aaron Rodgers. He says that it's not like Nolan Ryan where you're coming over the top, and it's like you instead of throwing a baseball, it's a lot more like hitting a baseball, where you instead of like bending your whole back and body forward, it's more so that you are staying back, and then you're just generating the power from your back leg.
You're exploding through, pretty much.
Yeah, and using like your hips as opposed to just your whole body. And it's and I mean that's in large part just because of the strange shape of the ball. Like you have to do some physics to make it work. And I mean we see this with Allen, with Burrow. You look at their and some of Russell Wilson. You look at some of their college tape, particularly when they were like early on in college, and it's like their body is totally for all their momentum is past their front leg before they release the ball. So you just you lose all of your power, and you're just throwing with your arm at that point.
And it hurts your arm after a while because you're just chucking. That's all you're
doing.
That's
what I mean. Chucking. Like, it's just it strains your arm, and then, and then that's like, well, not to mention it's also bad for your accuracy because as your arm comes around, it's you're in all your body's in all different positions and shapes and whatever else. So, it's hard to be accurate when your body's like doing a little game of Twister. So that's something that I have noticed, and that's and you can tell that like Allen, the reason he took a jump from being highly inaccurate to one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league is because he did that. He, when you watch like his combine tape or even his first year or two at Buffalo, he looks like a baseball pitcher when he's throwing the ball. And now his motion looks a lot closer to that of, somebody like Brady or Breeze or, just some of the greats that you can suggest.
Do you think that made more of a difference than the acquisition of Diggs at the time?
Than the acquisition of who?
He didn't really have a deep threat, and he came out as kind of a strong arm quarterback, and he didn't really have a deep threat at first.
Oh,
more than Diggs, kind of.
It was by far. I mean, yeah, it helped having Diggs, but like this is the second season without him, and I mean he's had two of his best years so far.
So now, yes. I just didn't know if you thought early on if you thought that was more.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I genuinely don't know. I'm not as knowledgeable about QB making.
Yeah, no, I mean I think what it did most of all was open up the playbook, and
interesting.
So then at the time, because then at the time, then Dable could, he knew that. Okay, I have this quarterback who has a strong arm. Here's this deep threat. Let me make plays that can, cater to that. But the thing is, I mean, you look at Allen in 2019 and then versus 2020, and his completion percentage increased by like almost 15%. And it was, and when you look back on it, that off season is when he made all that progress, when he made that change with his throwing, or when he made the biggest change, I guess. And I think a lot of it too. I mean, I think working with guys like Dable and Jordan Palmer, that was when he kind of started working with him, and we know the kind of magic they've been able to do on certain guys. So, that's, I think that definitely helped as well. But yeah, and I mean, I certainly was not expecting. I remember going into that year. I mean, I thought, yeah, he'll probably be better this year, but just with the addition of Diggs. But then I was not expecting the leap he did take. So I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, yeah, it was having Diggs, but I think just cleaning up the mechanics really was the big difference. And then that just kind of came with it, so to speak. So
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I mean, I could
Brandon,
be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just how it reads to me.
Brandon, what are your thoughts on that? And at least it's an interesting thought process to have on how he's growth.
It's interesting just because Adam always talks to me all the time about QB throwing mechanics. Like, I mean, because he works on that a lot. Like, he watches videos on QB throwing mechanics again, and also he likes to kick too, so kicking mechanics also. But it does help to actually have that baseball background. Like it's like if you, I mean, that's what Mahomes had before he played football, and that's why Mahomes is out there, with Tom Brady in the GOAT conversation. But it's definitely interesting. I never even thought about it that way. The one thing I always think about though is like every quarterback has like a weird kind of like, not weird, but every quarterback's got a routine that they go through that's like unique to them or to their skill set or whatever it is. Like, I wonder, because I always think about it when I think about throwing mechanics, I always wonder about the Dak dance. Yeah. I often wonder if other quarterbacks, that's actually a thing that other quarterbacks do.
It is actually. Yeah.
Like, it's
not
not
the only one. Yeah, it's not the only one. Yeah.
That's interesting. Because it didn't make any news until he did it in the pregame. So,
Yeah.
because I've never seen it before, but I was like, I guess it helps because it helps you flip your hips, so it helps you explode through the ball.
Yeah.
So I guess in that way, it would make sense for that to work, because it's like I know he does that, but then it's like I always see but then you always see other quarterbacks do the same stuff in pregame, not that, but they'll like literally be there in like their team T-shirt on with that hat on, and they'll just be sitting there just throwing the ball to like a guy that's like 5-10 yards down the field, just working on repetition. And it's like, but I didn't know that. I really didn't know if that was unique to him, if that's what every other quarterback has done at some point, but I've never seen it. So
I don't know. I know other quarterbacks do it. Obviously, I don't know which ones, but I know that others do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and I mean, the thing is, like, when you watch all the best quarterbacks, as far as they're, the ones who have the best mechanics, it's every single one of them, they have their own unique quirks and things, whatever, but without fail, they have the exact same trajectory from here, coming down, and then to the release. It's the exact same shape for every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's, I mean, I think that goes to show, like, there is ultimately a science to it. And, it's just the other stuff. I mean, it's obviously going to look different for everybody. They're all different heights and arm lengths and whatever else. Like, obviously, Kyler Murray throwing the football is going to look a lot different than Josh Allen. Like,
yeah.
So, So yeah, but I'll shut up. I could talk about this for hours.
Yeah. No, Scoop. I want to let you go to expand on this, but also statistically, what have you noticed from Allen? In this part of his career, like 2019 to now, to like early in his career, from a statistical point of view.
Right. So just the main question, or not, I won't say the main question, but the main thing that I did remember just, and that wasn't with anything in front of me. I remembered that sort of uptick after the Diggs acquisition occurred. Obviously led to his first Pro Bowl year in 2020. He also he was in the top 2 of MVP that year, but also not just that, but also it helped particularly kind of get that gap between touchdown and interception, that ratio expand. But it also helped him get from a quarterback who was passing between like 53 and 58% of completions up to almost 70 that following year. So again, I wasn't a believer that necessarily, and I didn't mean to indicate that the Diggs thing was purely or the only factor that changed there. But even then, you go to the playoffs. He went from having one particularly poor performance in the previous year to suddenly taking them through 3 games and having a lot more success in 2020. So just having known that those were changes that were made, and also knowing that Diggs, as his prototype or his archetype as a wide receiver, fit something that was so sorely lacking in the Buffalo offense, and equipped well the strengths of what Allen was coming out of Wyoming, because he was not coming out as a dink and dunk. He was not coming out as a guy who was kind of a Lamar-ish type. He was coming out as somebody who wanted to be able to make the splash play downfield, and somebody who went to Buffalo partially because of their ability to see him as sort of this big physical guy with a big arm who could cut through it in late December and such. So those were just where some of my questions originated from, and just wanted to get additional opinions on that, because again, I'm going back to what I remembered from now 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, and then Scoop, is that 55% of pass accuracy to like 70? That's pretty abnormal from a statistic point of view, correct?
I think I would say it's abnormal from to happen in, because again, this 58.8 to 69.2, this happened in one season. So that was, I think, what particularly had caught my attention. Also, almost doubled his touchdowns from 20 to 37. His interception numbers kind of stayed almost identical. But just all those things happening, cutting down the sacks, which obviously I know sacks are not just a QB stat. I understand that. But just all these different things he was able to accomplish. I'll give you another example here. Went from averaging about 5.5 to 6.5 yards per attempt to averaging almost 9 yards per attempt that season. So that is another thing that caught my attention, that indicated to me much more comfortable pushing it down the field than he had been at first.
Yeah. And then, Shane, I know this might be a stupid question, but overall, Allen's arm cutting through that weather in the wintertime, that's gigantic as well. Talk about that piece.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you get that Lake Erie cold front that comes through there.
Oh yeah,
it's I mean, a guy like that's why I'm just going to talk about them since they were playing them tonight. That's why like Tua doesn't work in cold weather, because he has a rather flimsy arm compared to most NFL quarterbacks. I mean, God, I've never seen somebody underthrow as many balls as he has. But so yeah, you need, especially for a team like Buffalo, where they, even in that kind of weather, they still lean on the pass game a ton. More than I think most people would. Yeah, you got to have that guy with the cannon, and he definitely does. I mean, I think he probably has the strongest arm. but he also, he knows when to give the ball some touch, and it's not like Anthony Richardson where he's just always throwing it 900 miles an hour, and it's like, dude, you don't need to do that. So yeah, I think. I really, there's some guys in the league where you're like, he's a perfect fit for this team, for the city, for whatever, and he's one of them. It's like nobody would be better here than him. And I think there's a few guys where that's the case, but he's definitely fits that mold.
Yeah. Brandon, do you have any final thoughts on this piece?
I think, we talk about quarterbacks and like kind of, where they fall into place. And this is why I tell people to a degree, like the term system quarterback, like people use that term a lot, but they really don't know what it means. It's like, it's not just the system that you run in, but it's also just the system that's kind of like based on your given attributes, what works for you. So like,
yeah, every quarterback is a system quarterback.
That's what I'm getting towards.
I hate that phrase so much.
Yeah, because every quarterback is a system quarterback. Because it's like, Joe Burrow can do things in Cincy that Tua can't, or Josh Allen can do things up in Buffalo that freaking Joe Flacco can't. Like, it's sorry to throw shade on the GOAT. But
Joe
I was gonna say, put some respect on his name, please. Thank you.
But like, it's like like Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan early in his career had an arm, but by the end of it, it became a noodle. But it was like, that's why, but it wasn't. It kind of made sense. He was playing in a dome most of his career, so it's like he could kind of hide it a little bit. There were certain throws he could make, that he wouldn't be able to make anymore, and so in outdoor weather, like a lot of times the system is not just what plays you're running, it's the physical attributes in the area that you play in, also like your physical skill set that works with the team you are on. Because teams are looking for a guy that fits what they want to run, yes, but they're also looking at guys, like you like Buffalo had to look at Josh Allen and be like, yeah, we want that guy because we know that guy can get it done. He's massive, he'll fit here, he's got a cannon for an arm. Like, you're not just looking at the guy that fits what you want to run. You're looking at the guy that's also has the physical tools, based on where you're kind of geographically, where you're located too. Like, so there's a little bit of that. So it's like every quarterback is a system quarterback. It's just some guys, like, that's why I don't like when people say like, oh, certain quarterbacks, if you replace them with this one, they would win more. I'm like, no.
You think Mahomes would have worked in Chicago?
Nope.
Like, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brandon.
No, or it's like like I won't mention the countless Eagles things I see, but like it's like this quarterback would work there because they're a better athlete or whatever the case may be. I'm like, no, this quarterback works for this and this quarterback works for that. It's not apples to apples. You're not comparing the same thing. Like, these two quarterbacks are not equal. They do different things better than each other or worse than each other. It's not like it's not this whole thing where every quarterback's on the same plane and one guy is far and away better than another guy. Like, it's there's certain things that Josh Allen does that Herbert can't. There's certain things that Flacco could do 12 years ago that he can't even do now. Like, he's not the same, even because as you progress through the league, you also learn, like, as you become a veteran, you also learn that you can't play the same way your entire career. It eventually has to shift. Like, it's one reason why Brett Favre, later in his career became even more of a turnover machine, became injury riddled, and never won another Super Bowl after all that success early on with the Packers. Like, the play style never quite changed. It never matured, really. The best quarterbacks over time, the play style, they still have what makes them great, but the play style has to mature as you get older. Like, we're talking about Josh Allen, like the changes he's made throughout his career. It's why last year he won an MVP. It's why it's looking even better as it goes on through the years. But he's still retaining some of that original gunslinger-ish, play style that he was known for early on. Like, in sports, just in sports in general, you have to adapt eventually. So it's like every quarterback to a degree, not to a degree, every quarterback's a system quarterback, and every quarterback has to adapt eventually as their career goes on. That's just how it is.
Yeah, Scoop, finish us up here with this topic.
No, I just I was going to mention that I know Brandon has heard me on talk. Hello, I know Brandon has heard me talk about it on What's the Scoop about best quarterback doesn't necessarily mean best fit for a team.
Mm-hmm.
I can go back to you weren't on WTS yet, but I spent a good portion of 2024 prior to the draft talking about how I didn't think that Bo Nix was the best quarterback in the draft. However, I thought he was the best fit for the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
Yeah.
And people I think get so obsessed with these comprehensive rankings or these consensus rankings, which is fine. I understand the value of them, but just because you're in general ranked the number 2 overall quarterback, okay. But if your strength is thinking and dunking it field general, and someone's trying to run a vertical zone run offense, then that might not be an optimal fit. So it's I think that sometimes it gets overlooked, and Mahomes is a great example to use. Because I ask people also, and I know that we all probably had this conversation of do you think he would have had the same career in Anaheim, in Los Angeles, or in New York, or whatever the case may be, without not just Hill and Kelsey and company, but also Coach Reed, et cetera, et cetera. And there's nothing against him for saying that. It's not a knock against those players to say that. Every great quarterback has had support in some capacity, and to say that a great quarterback has support or has help around him or has weapons doesn't delegitimize their greatness, because literally no quarterback has gotten to the top without that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
right.
well, I mean, look, yeah, I was just gonna say,
No,
I mean,
finish up.
Mahomes had Alex Smith, Aaron had Favre, Love had Aaron, Brady had Bledsoe, you name the guy,
There's always someone behind that has done it before.
or ahead,
Or ahead.